And welcome to the Aaron Katsman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katsman. We speak to you about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from the spiritual and soon to be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. And if you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. And if you think somebody might find this of actual interest, why don't you go ahead and hit the send button, the share button, excuse me. And we're not sending emails, we're sharing good content. Hit the share button and you can send it to them as well. So we've all dreamed, right? What would we do if we came into money? What would we do if we came into $1 million? What would you do if you came into $1 million? So people say, I'd buy a house, I'd buy my parents a home, a new car, right? We tend to dream big, especially really big, bigger than the money that we're getting, right? Our dreams tend to cost a lot more money than the windfall we're coming into. That I can tell you. That's something that occurs frequently when I get calls from people who are set to inherit, a lot of money. They say, I'm inheriting. They start off by saying, I'm inheriting a ton of money. And they're inheriting a couple $100,000. And what would you like to do with all that money? Well, I think we'd like to buy an investment property. We'd like to remodel our kitchen. We could use a new car or an upgrading car, and maybe we'd like to travel. I said, well, all those things cost about $1.5 million, and you got $300,000. So how's that going to work exactly? So it's okay to dream, okay, but we have to be sort of realistic. It's also important to understand, right? A millionaire today isn't what a millionaire was 20 years ago. It's still a lot of money. I'm not poo-pooing millionaires, right? And it's still nice status, but it's not, the money doesn't go quite as far as we tend to think it will go. Now, what happens when you come into a windfall? What should you do when you come into a windfall? So I'm a believer that when one comes into a lot of money suddenly, one should do absolutely nothing, right? It's funny that in many things in life, we tend to procrastinate and push things off. When it comes to, we get a lot of money, we tend to not procrastinate at all. We tend to hit the ground running. And my point is we should procrastinate. We should take our time, okay? Nothing's going to happen if you don't do anything for 3 or 4 months. Nothing will happen. You're not going to lose a lot of money. Nothing. People, I could have earning into the market went up. I could have made interest. Nonsense. Okay. Your bad decisions are going to cost you way more money than any money you could possibly make if you actually did come into the windfall. So the first thing you have to do is nothing. Take a deep breath or many deep breaths. Okay. And maybe lock the money up even into like a 3 or 4 month deposit. That might be the best way to do it because that way you can't do any harm. The money is locked up. The next thing you want to do is take a pen and paper, okay? Write down the top 5 things you want to do with the money. Okay, you want to buy an apartment, pay off your mortgage, invest, charity, travel, go to a casino and blow it all. Whatever those goals are, write them down, okay? Put it in an envelope, put it away. Go on living your life as if you don't have the money. And then a couple months later, 2 months later, whatever it is, do the same exercise again. What is it that I want to do? Speak to your spouse if you have a spouse. What do I want to do with the money? I bet that when you then take out of the envelope the first list that you make and you compare it to the second list, there might be differences because we have a little bit more perspective. Right? We don't have to rush into anything. You don't have to spend. There's no commandment that says that you have to spend all that money within the first 2 weeks. You can just hold on to it, right? There was that movies growing up, Brewster's Millions, where, I don't know, Richard Pryor was given, I don't know, $40 million or something like that. He had 48 hours to spend all of this money or something like that. That's not life, okay? That's Hollywood. Life is you get an inheritance, you get a windfall, I don't know, you win the lottery, whatever it is, you get stock options that click. Your high-tech company was purchased. Whatever it is, how you get this money, I don't care. Take your time. Don't force it. Don't say, "Oh, my friend got money and they bought a vacation place in Cyprus." You don't have to do that. You're not your friend. Okay? You can be methodical. You didn't have the money to begin with. Okay. So if you wait a little bit more time, you're not losing any money. You're in the same position with $1 million in the bank that you, or whatever, right? That you were the day before. So nothing's going to happen if you just take your time and go things, be methodical. Okay. Step by step. The first thing I would tell you to do, regardless of what all your goals are, is if you've got any debts, get rid of them. Okay. The craziest thing would be if you inherited a windfall and you're still carrying around a bunch of debt on your credit cards, or you owe people money, or you're not current on your rent, or you're not current on your utility bill, or whatever you have to pay the tax man. That would be almost criminal to come into all that money and then not pay those things off. That would be what we would call irresponsible. That's a big word in the industry, irresponsible. The next thing you should do after you pay off all your debts is then really, like I said, think long and hard. What are your goals and what are your needs? And then start attacking them. But be smart about it, right? You don't have to buy the first property that you see if that's what you want to do, right? You don't have to buy the latest AI stock and put all your money into one of those stocks because your friend told you that's the best investment. There's no best investment. Okay. Oftentimes, you may want to speak with a professional because it's not the first time they've come across this and they can hold your hand. It is very, trust me, from what I understand from clients, it is very overwhelming in many instances to come into tremendous amounts of money, more money than you ever had in your life, and have it come into you at once. It is overwhelming. It can be a huge responsibility. So it behooves you to take your time. Speak to a professional, right? They can be a sounding board. They can tell you from experience with other people in your situation what they did, what they recommend. You don't have to do it alone. There's nothing that says, oh, well, I got this money, I've got to be a hero. Right? You never had all this money before in your life. So maybe you should seek advice. And I'll tell you right away, you should seek advice with an advisor, financial advisor, probably an accountant, maybe even a lawyer, depending on how much money you're getting. Okay? But be smart about it. And you don't have to run to duty free and spend it. You don't have to have it hit your account and have it go out the next day. It can stay in for a long time. Okay? But number one, pay off your debts. Number two, think long and hard about what your goals are and what your needs are. Maybe you're just not making ends meet. You got this money and you can set it up in a way, you can invest it in a way that'll generate some supplementary income for you. And now you can make ends meet. That would be a blessing, right? For you, you're in a hard financial situation, and now all of a sudden, things are a little bit more comfortable. That'd be fantastic. Okay, maybe you're doing fine, and you want to put the money, you want to save the money for your children, or you want to pay for help your kids buy apartments when they get married. I don't know, whatever it is, but just take your time, be smart about it, and write it in a list and prioritize. Because unless you come into huge, huge amounts of money, there's probably not going to be enough money to go around to do all of the things that you want to do today. I emphasize the word today because it could very well be that in a couple of years from now, that might be the case. I'll tell you, I recently had a meeting with an individual who had a nice sized portfolio with me. And we were talking about financial planning, and her parents were getting on in years, both still alive, lived in Europe. And I said, I don't like, everybody should live to 120. I don't want to knock everybody off, but I've just, you shouldn't put your head in the sand. So I asked, how much do you think you may inherit? And she knew right away. She said, 1.2 million euros. That's what's been put away. The rest is going to kids and to grandchildren. We're going to get 1.2 million euros. So I said, great. Now, they had a very successful portfolio. And they said, we were thinking about maybe buying a property so that one day, we're in our early 50s, but when we retire, we'll have a place that we can go to and visit. So I said, well, maybe you want to wait. Instead of like selling your portfolio out, cashing it out, and taking like hundreds of thousands of dollars of capital gains, maybe you want to wait until you get, that windfall, and then you can be smart about it and use some of that maybe to buy a property or whatever it is. You're not retiring anyway now. You don't have to, you're talking about 15 years from now, right? Just be smart about things. Think about things. Think them through. And you can end up getting much better solutions as opposed to diving right in, impulsive, right? The worst thing that one can do who inherits a lot of money or who comes into a windfall, however it may be, is be impulsive, right? Impulsive decisions when you come into a lot of money can set you back, right? You can actually be in a worse financial situation than you were pre-windfall, believe it or not. Okay? So if you need help, feel free to reach out to me, other professionals in the financial space. They'll be happy to help you. I'm sure I will be as well, because I know myself. I'd be happy to help you. Okay? You've been tuning into the Aaron Katsman Show. We speak to your life, your money, and your investments. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. If you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. And if somebody you know may have just hit a windfall and they might find this of interest, why don't you go ahead and hit the share button and share it with them as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.